Okay, this is it, the main event, the top 40 sports cards in my collection. But before I get started, make sure to teabag that like button and ask your wife or girlfriend to squat on that subscribe button. And oh yeah, follow me on Instagram. Now that bullshit's out of the way, let's get started here with number 40. Pete Rose, 1965 Topps, real clean copy. And near perfect centering, but there's a little more border here on the left than the right. So maybe classify that as what, 55-45 perhaps, but still a real nice copy nonetheless. And I've toyed with the idea of, kind of doing his run up to, I think, 1980. The entire career run would be very difficult and cumbersome. He's got a lot of cards, not unlike Nolan Ryan. And I think I've mentioned this on more than one occasion. So number 39 is this triple rookie card here from 2003 Fleer Tradition. And this is LeBron, James, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade. This was a huge card, to say the least, like a lot of basketball cards were. This one sent me back like around $300 when I purchased it. And I think that Rose was about the same for those that are interested in that. Up next is at 38, Ernie Banks rookie. And I think this was another card that I purchased from Red Zone. I don't know if he's still in business. But what happened, he'd have stuff on eBay, and then I would just go to his website and, just be cheaper there, and I would buy it direct from him. So, and this one was $875. That I do remember. I remember a lot of these prices. I store a lot of useless information in my head, which includes knowing how much I pay for this stuff. Okay, next up here, 37 is a card that I suspect will over time move up the ranks. It is the Topps Gold version of the 2001 Topps traded Ichiro Pujols. And I would say 2001 Topps Gold are the hardest to get in high grade because of how prone to chipping these gold foil borders are. They're textured, and this one's centering isn't even that great. I mean, I guess it meets 9 standards. I remember going back and forth with the seller at the time. I think we settled on like $240. He had it for like $350, whatever. And again, this was obviously before 2019, I think, maybe early 2019 or 2018. But the Ichiro Pujols Topps Gold Dual Rookie, and then at number 36 is this Ricky Henderson, which I sort of jokingly referred to as, the Han Solo and Carbonite card, because if you look at Han Solo frozen in Carbonite, he kind of has that same expression. But this is a second year, 81 Topps 10. And part of my, targeting of the second year 10 when the rookie 10 was like 5-figure card or something like that. And so this was one of those. And I think I alluded to this in this little endeavor. And I don't know if it was the last video or the first one I did, part 1. I think I talked about Ozzie Smith, 1980 Topps being part of that little project that I did. But there's Ricky Henderson, second year, PSA 10. And moving to number 35, you're going to start seeing some more Mantle cards here. I got a couple back-to-back, the first of which is this 55 Bowman. 5.5. Oh, by the way, the Henderson, that was a $300 card when I purchased it. And this was four to $500. But I remember the centering is what stood out to me initially, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but a lot of times I would see this card with, if it had good centering, then it looked like hell. I mean, it'd be like a low grade, and I wanted something. The 5.5 it meant the right combination of economics and eye appeal for me, and so here it is. And a tough card to comp. The half grades just don't show up as often or move as often, so often have to resort to my little formula that I do to kind of extrapolate what I think it's worth. Another Mantle here. This was from 60 Topps, PSA 7. And I held the line on the 7 here with the 1960 version. So it's off-centered, but the top bottom, but it kind of gets buried into the yellow border a little bit, so it doesn't quite stick out as much, especially on this horizontal card. Maybe a little more noticeable if it was this way, right? But anyway, just a straight up 1960 Topps mantle, a nice example, PSA 7. And that centering might have something to do with that 7 score too. So, all right, I already lost track. What am I at? 34. 33. And it's another one of those Topps Gold cards from 2001. You're going to see the individual cards here in this segment of the countdown. Here's Ichiro. Again, the PSA 9. And this one's numbered 1820 out of 2001. Nicely centered copy. I don't see what's wrong with this, but there's probably something. Maybe a little nick in the gold foil somewhere if I really want to scrutinize it. But, yeah, and this was, I forget what I paid for this. I really don't remember. I know what I paid for the pool holes. That was like $120. This one might have been somewhere in that range. I mean, I don't think I paid more than $200 for it when I bought it. And then 32 is another Mickey Mantle card, the 53 Bowman Color, PSA 4. This was like a $600 card, I think. Nicely centered copy from 53. Bowman Color, very popular set with the vintage collectors. You know, I typically would reserve grades this low for like pre-war stuff. And if I'm buying cards in like the 50s and 60s and beyond, I'm going to shoot for a little bit higher. But in this case, the eye appeal essentially overrode, the technical grade, in my opinion. And it's a 1.5, this Wilt Chamberlain rookie card. There is this crease here. Like, you see that? I mean, it's pretty dramatic if you get the right angle, and hence the low grade as a result. But I mean, just look at the centering is outstanding. You don't see this card centered all that often this well. I mean, often you can see it off-centered a little bit one way or the other, but this has got unicorn centering, low grade, kept the price down, but probably paid up a little for it. And honestly, I don't know if it's maybe what I paid for it, it's worth less today. I mean, I think threes now will go for around that same price, but the threes don't look as nice as that when it comes to centering. So it might be one of those things where you just got to throw it up and see what it, what the auction ends at to get a true idea of what it's worth, what someone wants to pay for it. And I think it certainly is a premium there because of the centering. And here is Brooks Robinson's rookie card. Now, this was a 4 sharp corners purchased one summer. I did a lot of buying in like 2016, 17, 18. There was really no rhyme or reason. I just was collecting heavily. And, I think someone commented that I timed the market. I didn't really have any plan. I mean, I knew cards I knew this would be something good. I mean, they're kind of hard to find in high grade. And so, I paid whatever at the time for these Topps Gold. And I said, oh yeah, it'll definitely go up, but I didn't expect it to do what it did. And Brooks Robinson here was around $1,100. And again, one of those rarely seen half grades. Centering, it's not the greatest. And this was a case of me buying the grade, not the card, to a certain extent. I mean, if you have to split it down the middle, I kind of skewed more towards buying the grade because centering is, left to right's a little more than I like. But, you don't see high-grade copies of this card. And so I guess I sacrificed some centering for the sake of, clean, crisp borders and nice surface, that sort of thing, for the Brooks Robinson rookie. And then here is the Pujols. Topps Gold. And another 9. This was 100 numbers. Sold for, I got it for an odd number, $127. This Pujols. And this is another card I think is going to probably move up the rankings over time because what a career. What a finish to his career. This Topps Gold 2001. Numbered to 245. So there's that. I think I'm at 30, right? No, 29. Oh, and 29 is a card. Wait, 28? I can't keep track. I think it's 20. I'm gonna look. Hold on a second. I'm gonna look at my spreadsheet right here. Tony Gwynn is 28. So here's a card that I know last year I had ranked number 40 in my collection because I did that sort of dual showdown with Joe, Silver Jackify, in November of last year. And I remember starting off with this card at number 40. So the price on this card has not really changed much, but it moved up 11 spots here. It looks like Tony Gwynn. This is like $3,000. I got it at like 28.75 in November. So, maybe it's gone down. I don't know. It's just one of those things. But this is ranked 28 now. So it moved up 12 spots, right? So Tony Gwynn rookie card and a PSA 10. This is the Topps Chrome update refractor for Juan Soto. This was a big card. Still kind of a big card. I mean, the guy's still young and has an incredibly bright future. This is the refractor version. This was $375. And this one is numbered to 250, which is why I went after it. It's a little more limited. And I remember when I bought this, or not long after I bought this, the autographed version of this went for like $450. I'm like, geez, for $75 more, I could have got the autographed if I just waited. But now that, I think that delta now is much greater than what I saw back then. This would have been, 2019, I think. I picked this up for like $375. And this guy, just unreal what this guy does. And this is my only Shohei Ohtani card. Batting purple refractor. I'm into this one for like $80. And the reason why I bought this was because, I thought it would be cool to have a Shohei Ohtani card because he's pitching and hitting and, so I decided on this one. I would like to have a card of him pitching, but I guess there are no Bowman Chrome rookies. You got to go for, I think the Topps Chrome shows him pitching. But that's Shohei Ohtani. And this is now going to be, 25 in my collection. And I don't know if this is ranked properly. This is a Koufax rookie, PSA 6. And this was purchased back when, card prices actually went down, for no apparent reason. And what I mean by that is I remember paying like $1,100 for this card, $1,100, $1,200. And like a year later, it was selling for under $1,000. I mean, I don't know why. It wasn't like he was playing or doing anything off the field that would justify it. It was just bizarre. And then, of course, it's now, on up and up, without a doubt. More and more people are going after this card. More and more people are looking at the vintage stuff, I think we're seeing, because there isn't as much of it to go around. It's certainly not in high grade. So Koufax was like $1,100, and I'll throw a little price nugget at you. What do I have this one at? I don't think this is right. I have it at like $3,079 for that 6, but that was in November, so it might have gone down. That's the number I kind of pull out of my ass, maybe. But anyway, moving on is the Dan D Potato Chips Mickey Mantle. This was my knee-jerk, pissed-off response purchase to having just lost out on a 51 Bowman Mantle several years ago. But not a bad knee-jerk, not a bad remorse or angry purchase, because this one now is becoming more and more popular due to its, not perceived scarcity, but scarcity. It's, a card that was in bags of greasy potato chips. I have a little bit of oil, I think, you could see on this. Centering sucks. But yeah, I wouldn't buy this card again with this kind of centering. But nowadays, there's not a lot of choices for that particular card, and they certainly aren't cheap anymore. This one was, what did I pay for that? $600 to $700 is what I paid for that, whenever that was. Next up is the great one, Wayne Gretzky, really nice 7.5. one of those cards where it's like, geez, what's wrong with this? It might be, I mean, I don't know. It might be maybe a little corner touch of white. But, maybe one of the best hockey cards you could have. The Gretzky rookie is a big card. And I wanted one in my collection, so there it is. Moving on. We got more Mantle. This time my 53 tops, purchased a long time ago. I want to say the late 2000s, like 2000, latter part of that decade. It started 2007, 2008 maybe. But 2.5, nicely centered 2.5. This was $500. I think $500, like right on the nose. Yeah, I mean, the corners are soft. I think that's the big thing. Maybe there's a crease there somewhere, but I don't see it. It's just got really soft corners. They're not sharp. So, but whatever. It was part of my Mantle building, and at the time, that's what I was happy with, and that's what I ended up with. So, 21. Are we at 21 here? Yeah, we're at 21. This card is so difficult to comp. This Pete Rose rookie. This is one of the few cards, if not the only card, that has very little disparity between grades, like 6 and 7. I've seen 6.5s sell less than a 6, which makes no sense, and therefore I don't use that selling price. I see oftentimes maybe a $500 difference between a 6 and a 7. Usually you'll see a much bigger spread. But for whatever reason, this card, it doesn't exist there. And it's always been the case. I haven't checked in about a month or so. But, if a 7 is $3,800, a 6 is $3,300, right? And so then where do you put the 6.5 at? I put it with $3,400, I guess. I mean, you kind of do some back of the envelope calculation and come up with a price. But this one, what do I have? I have this one valued at, this might be aggressive. What did I price this? I have this at $3,650. It's got decent centering. But Pete Rose, and it's an ugly card, right? But I wanted the Pete Rose rookie card, and this is what you have to own to have the Pete Rose rookie card. The 64 tops is a much better looking card for sure. But that's Pete Rose. Up next is Jimmy Brown. And yeah, it's a 4, but it's a damn good 4 too. This is another one of those cards like Wilt Chamberlain, where you just don't see nice surface and centering. Although, occasionally I'll go back and just randomly look at some cards that I own and see what they're, what they're trending for on eBay. And I actually saw some nicely centered copies of this that cost, maybe in like a 5 or 6 grade. The prices come down a lot. This was purchased a while back, but like anything bought in the last couple of years, everything seemed to have, in most cases, come down. In fact, my entire collection value, I think it peaked, well, I'm not going to get into this, but let's just say from when it peaked to today, it's probably down about 35 to 40% based on the spreadsheet. So, and that seems to be typical, right? And it kind of aligns with the market. I wasn't overexposed and say anything after 2017. You see what I have here, right? So it's a good mix. But my overall collection value, unrealized losses incurred, are in the order of, let's just say it's 35 to 40%. Here's Mickey Mantle from 56 tops. And the most I had spent on a single baseball card at the time of purchase, it was $775 back in 2007-ish time period. And I didn't realize that it was such a whitewashed, copy, meaning it might have been exposed, out on somebody's bookshelf and exposed to the sunlight or whatever. You could see it. The color isn't very vibrant. And therefore, maybe that's what justifies the 6, because otherwise it has great centering, it has great, I would say, focus and corners, but just it's not very vibrant, kind of dull, right? And so that's what happens when you leave your cards out. They have a tendency to kind of like, dull out a little bit, which I don't do. And if you do it, you probably should have like a UV sort of case to keep things, keep it safe, I guess. All right, so here's a COVID purchase. This was $800. This is Tom Brady's rookie card from Upper Deck. And, I bought this because I think it's an ugly card. I think this sweatpants deal that he's featured in on many of his rookie cards is awful. But, it was the Upper Deck Star Rookie that that I kind of like wanted to have because that's kind of like a thing, right? There's the Griffey, and that's a big deal. And I thought having the Upper Deck Star Rookie of Brady would be a good buy. And I paid $7.99 just before the bus left town. This would have been, I think, February of 20, I think it was. Got it from somebody in Canada. And it was another one of those off eBay things where somehow I was able to get a hold of this guy and just deal with him directly. And I eliminated he actually lowered the price a little bit, and so on and so forth. Another card that's hard to comp, this Joe DiMaggio, which I have. This is 17. And this is a VG 3.5, VG Plus. It's got a tilt to it, and you see it. It's tilted. This was $1,650. A deal I struck quick one Saturday morning drinking coffee. It had just appeared, and I was able to reach out to the seller privately because, again, I think he had his About Me. It featured his card store or some personal contact information on his eBay profile. And so we exchanged some text, and I was able to snap this up before anybody else could. $1,650 was a good price, I think, for this. Decent grade. 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio. And this has a distinction of being my first card. This didn't cost me anything. This was free, I guess, in theory, because, again, I tell the story where in early 2020, I sold some stuff, in particular video games. And this was $1,600-ish. And I think this was, I don't know if I was able to negotiate this off eBay or if I did go through eBay. I think I did go through eBay because I had to pay tax on it. But yeah, this was $1,650-ish price range for this PSA 1. But the eye appeal is fantastic. And, the reason for the 1 is if there's going to be paper loss on a card, it's best to contain it, in the white border, right? You see it kind of bleeds into the red a little bit, but not much. But that's it. That's why it's a 1. It's that paper loss. Otherwise, it's probably like a 2.5. Maybe 3 on a good day. But that paper loss definitely knocks it down. I don't even see any creases on this thing. So, Ty Cobb red. Would love to own the Ty Cobb green, but man, is that thing expensive. I mean, I'd have to settle for like a beater type copy, and even then it'd be like a lot of money, Hank Aaron rookie card puts us at what? It puts us at number 15. Bought for $500. Again, late 2000s. I think 5s were going like 700 and something at the time. It's crazy. I mean, today, if the prices were the same today as they were then, I'd have bought a 7. But alas, it's a 4. But a nice 4. And it does have that, I think you see a lot on this one. There's this, some kind of like, I don't know what this causes this, but there's a little line there. And then right there, is that like a roller mark thing or something? But I see that a lot on these. But centering is good. And it makes me forget about that pretty easy enough. Okay, Nolan Ryan. One of those dual rookie cards. Not very popular, not very attractive. And, hard to find centered. And I know that this one isn't centered all that well, left, right. And another case where I bought the grade more so than the card because I wanted a high-grade copy. But, you could wait and wait and wait and wait. And something that you're looking for never shows up. And ultimately, you want to come back to maybe this, and then it ends up being way more money. And you should just bought it right out, right away. So, here's the Ryan. I think the reason why it's always off-center is because it sits at the edge of the sheet or something like that. But it's a nice card. And Jerry Kuzma gets forgotten. He had a great career, too. If you look at his stats, I can't imagine what this would look like or if this was Ryan and Tom Seaver sitting here on the same card. Be outstanding. Might be the best all-time rookie card if that were Seaver, but it's not. So Nolan Ryan checks in at number 14, I think it was. Yeah, 14. Up next is the 52 Bowman. Mickey Mantle, 4. It's a nice 4, nicely centered. I think these cards generally come nicely centered. I don't really see these off-centered all that often. But then again, I haven't looked in a while, so... And by the way, Ryan cost me, I think, $1,600. If you're interested in that. What did I miss? Anything else? That's everybody. All right, so Bowman Mantle. I got this from a guy in New Jersey, and this was $640. And I think it was an off eBay deal because he had it on eBay, and I knew his store, so I called the store, and then I said, "Hey, listen, I'll be in the area," and I just ended up paying him cash for this. One summer afternoon. And from that same store, the first time I dealt business with this guy was for this card. Actually, no, the second time. When I went in to pick up this card, he had, we started talking. He had shown me he had gotten a nice lot of T206s. They were ungraded. And this was one of them. And I've told a story where, I think this is like maybe June. Well, like sometime in August, later that summer, I had a dream about this very card. For whatever reason, I dreamed about this Ty Cobb card. And I woke up and I called the store. I said, "Hey, did you ever get that Cobb graded?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I did. It came back a 2. And I said, "What do you want for it?" He said, "I'll take $625 or something like that." I said, "Okay, I'll come in and pick it up." And so here it is. So first time I saw it, he had showed me the raw copy. Now, it's definitely a 2. There's no sort of, there's some paper loss here on the back. Yeah, I would say it's a low-end 2. And so when I try to price these things out, I'm very conservative because the eye appeal is not, well, I guess it's okay. But this might edge out the Bat Off as my favorite Ty Cobb card. I looked at the Bat. I don't own the Bat Off. I'd like to own it someday. I got jumped over once on it, going aggressive on it like a few years ago. I think a 2 was I think it ended up at like $2,300 or something, or no, $3,200. And I got leaped over dramatically during that auction, and that's that. So that's as close as I came to owning the Bat Off. We're at number 11, and number 11 is Lou Gehrig. So Lou Gehrig here at 2.5, and it's nicely centered, although you look down here, just this artwork bleeds into the border. It looks off-centered, but it's not, so the artwork kind of bleeds into this border here. Remember the guy that I bought this from was pissed about the grade. I got it for under $1,000. I want to say it was like 980 something, and he just seemed really angry about the grade and the subsequent sale to me. He thought it looked way better than a 2.5. And I don't know. I wasn't going to argue. I'm just happy to get this card that looked this nice for what I paid for it at that time. This Lou Gehrig, 2.5 from 33 Gowdy. Okay, now we're into what? Top 10 territory. And here's a card that I think at one time would fluctuate between number 1 and number 2 in my collection during 2020, depending on what day of the week it was. This was once a $30-something thousand card, and now I have it at like $5,500. This Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Magic Johnson. This is an 8.5. But yeah, this and the Jordan rookie were 1 and 2, 2 and 1. They would flip-flop. This one jiggles a little bit in the handle or in the holder, and I purchased this from a known trimmer. I didn't know he was a trimmer at the time I bought it. I learned afterwards, so who knows? So whatever. It's an 8.5. It looks like an 8.5. Maybe it was cut up. I did really take a hard look at this particular slab and other cards to see how they would fit in it, and I thought maybe there was a little more gap in between the edges here than on some of the ones I looked at, and then other times I would see the similar gaps. So maybe the tolerances were just whatever, just different. They differ from slab to slab, and maybe I shouldn't think too much about it. Slab is 8.5. It's what it is, I guess. And we all have trim cards in our collection, I imagine. We just don't know it. All right, number 9 is a 52 Topps Willie Mays. Nice VG3. Oh, by the way, this one was $1,400. This card when I bought it. This one was $1,600, I think. 16 sounds about right. This is VG3, nicely centered. Well enough. I mean, top bottom, it's not great, and there's a little more white border down here, but surface looks good. I mean, it's clean. It's got good color, so not as rookie. Not unlike the Mantle. It's not as rookie from 52 Topps, but still an important card to have. We're looking at number 9. No, number 8. It's Jackie. PSA 6, purchased from Steve Hart at the Baseball Card Exchange. Reached out directly when I saw, after I saw he had listed this on eBay, and I ended up getting this for $1,100. I did try to nickel and dime him a little bit, but he wasn't budging, and whatever. I can't blame him. And I think I offered like $60 less, but I took the offer, or the whatever he was proposing to sell it to me for. So, nice card, nice color and clarity. Centering is okay. This is what, a second year card, I guess, third year. Jackie. This 50 Bowman's got some really nice cards in this set. So there's the Jackie. This next one, I really don't know how to price. I just pulled a price out of my ass for this one. And so this is the Joe DiMaggio. This is the 38 Gaudy. I have a price on here around $7,000, and that could be way off. And one, it's the rarer of the two versions. This one has the scribbles. It's PSA 5 cardboard, but with a mark. I mean, I wouldn't price this as a straight 3. So in theory, you knock it down 2 grades, but I think this is one of those cards where I think it would sell higher than what I kind of price it at like a 4. And I don't know if that's even how I came up with that price of 7. Again, I just pulled it out of my ass. But I don't know. Do you think this card would sell for $7,000 today? I mean, I don't know. It's not very common. Corners are sharp, edges are sharp, centering is good. You probably can't really tell, but centering is really good on this one. And anyway, Joe D. Bought it for $3,500. $3,200. $3,255. And it was a card that I had to act quick on, because when I was communicating with the eBay seller, he said he had a lot of interest in it, and he came back with a kind of like an offer, and I took it. And I'm glad I did, because I never would own that card, at least not that nice of a card again, today anyway. All right, so we are at, again, here's another card that was at one time number 1 in my collection, the Jordan rookie, and this is a card number 6. In a clear case where I knew I was buying the grade and not the card, because the centering sucks. 8.5. Bought from 4 Sharp Corners. Remember, I was traveling. I was in my hotel room, just, shopping eBay. And this one was a buy it now for like $1,900. So it was under $2,000. Oh, I think at the time, no, what happened? He had it on eBay, and then I think I went to his website, and then I got, because when you go to the 4 Sharp's website, you get like a discount because they don't have to pay eBay fees. And so that's what happened. Saw it on eBay, immediately went to their website and bought it direct from them, whenever that was, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But this is card number 6 in my collection. And at one time it was, this was close to $40,000 card. It was ridiculous. I should have sold these things. But then again, you come back to, geez, would it have been paid for, or would it have been returned to you later on, months later in an SNAD, like, oh, the case is scratched, I want to return the card. The card dropped value by 50%. This, again, is another big card here. This is number 5. It's my Tom Brady rookie from Bowman Chrome. Purchased for $899. I think before whatever Super Bowl it was that he won, was it the Falcons? this would have been like the winter of 2016, maybe 2017. I can't remember, but it was like $900. This one went as high as like what, $25,000. Can you imagine paying 25 grand for this card? 20, now it's like what I have. I have this at 9,500, and this says December, so it's a relatively current comp. Mickey Mantle, 1.5, low grade, and this is why. But again, who looks at the back? Nicely centered, decent, a little off. I don't understand how a card could be focused on one side but not the other. But maybe it's my eyes playing tricks on me. This just looks a little blurry here, like where this number is on the back of his jersey. 1.5 grade. This was $29.95, just under $3,000. Several years ago. Glad I got it. People have asked me, hey, you ever upgrade your Mantle collection? It's like, no, I'm not upgrading any of those cards. I mean, there's so much more money now. I have no interest in upgrading. In fact, I think the only card I ever talked about upgrading was that Walter Johnson. But even that ship has sailed, because upgrading that would be several $1,000s to get a nice 3 or 4, and I just don't want to do that. So, nope, no upgrades for me. Here's Mays' rookie card, PSA 3. Purchased locally in Connecticut from somebody. It was on eBay, and I reached out directly again. And was it? Maybe it was through eBay, but I got it for $2,000. And I think he wanted 22 for it. I didn't want to pay more than 22 with sales tax. And so he said, okay, you got it for 2,000. So I pounced on it for 2. And I'm glad I did. You know, it's a good, nicely centered card. I've seen a lot worse. There's some sort of like discoloration here. But this is an important card, and dare I say, undervalued. Guy's still alive, for crying out loud. Willie Mays. That's number 3. Number 2, Babe Ruth. And then when I bought this for $1,500, this had become the most I ever purchased a single card for. Yeah. So just my favorite Ruth card from the Gaudi set. And also, I think the easiest one to obtain. And I like it the best because it's an action photo. This one's a nice PSA too. And pretty stable. I think all Ruth cards, I don't know if they were impacted at all. If anything, in the other direction, they go up. So I have this comped at $12,510. So I must have a reason for that. So there's Ruth at number 2, and she comes as no surprise. Number 1, if you follow my channel, is going to be this one. Now, I know it's ugly, but for what this costs, beggars can't be choosers. I wasn't going to be like, well, I'm going to wait for a better centered copy to come. No, this was it. The price point was there, and I wasn't going to be that picky. So this was another baseball card exchange purchase from Steve. This popped up on a Sunday morning, and I reached out directly to him, and we basically settled on a price like within an hour. He had it for, I think he had it for $10,000 on eBay, like buy it now. And I was like, oh, so what do you want to do off eBay? And I was like, well, I'll do $9,000 cash or $92.50 credit card. So I put it on the credit card because I thought for $250 to secure this card is more important. The cost is negligible to make sure I secure the card, and that's what I did. And then when it arrived, the UPS, it was like during the wintertime, the UPS guy where I live, it's kind of like off a private road, and if there's ice at the foot of the private road, private driveway, UPS guy won't come. He'll get stuck potentially. And so I remember tracking. I'm like, where is this guy? And it turns out they updated the website to say, well, he couldn't get there or something happened. So I ended up calling the dispatcher, Anyway, long story short, I had to chase this guy down in my neighborhood. And like, I'd go to an address. Oh, no, he's already in this one. Oh, no, he went to the next one. No, I finally got up to this guy at somebody's house. I said, give me that damn package. I didn't say it like that, but I said, hey, you got something for me? And I signed for it then and there. But yeah, so here it is. Tough to comp. These cards are all over the place. Now, a mirrored image version of this very card sold on eBay in October for $35,000. It was basically biased this way, and it was a Pour One MC. So same grade, just like a mirrored image version of this. But you know, I don't know. It's just I have this one valued at like 30. I think that's pretty conservative. I've seen PSA 1s go for the 40s, and I see 1.5s go for like 10 grand less, which doesn't make any sense. And they don't look drastically different in eye appeal either. But yeah, so the Mickey Mantle, the 1952 Topps Grail card, and you know there was a time where I had given up hope of trying to acquire this card, and so to that end I bought the 82, 83 Topps reprint Mantle, thinking that was going to be it. That's my rookie card representative for my collection, but I was fortunate enough to get this, and this to this day is the most expensive card I ever bought. You know, $9,250. And I don't make a habit of that. that's like, it's got to be something special. And this, of course, was to me at the time, and because I would not be able to own this card today if I had waited. So yeah, creases aside, shitty centering aside, it is a 52 Topps Mantle and a very necessary card for my collection. So that's a wrap. This one went a little longer than the other two, I think. So anyway, you know, I probably won't do this again for quite a while. I think I said when I started this, it was like 3.5 years ago when I did this last time, an all-inclusive countdown. But anyway, that will do it. More to come. I got some stuff coming up next couple of weeks. I'm going to roll out that you might find interesting. So I will talk to you then. Thanks. See you.